way. Mostly will be looking at my computer just to stay focused. So hello everyone on, I think we're live on everything. Yes, we are. Okay. Oh my God, we're here. So hello to everyone on Moon Rising Circle, on my Facebook, Emily Thorner, on my Instagram. Sorry, everyone on Instagram, you're going to get the side of my face, but that's just where we're at because my cord is only so long. So just to start right out the gate. So I am Emily Thorner. I also run Moon Rising LLC. There is a bit of echo. Ooh.
There's a bad echo, and I don't know what's happening. I'm going to exit this. Sorry, everybody. How do I exit this? Get me out of here. Leave.
We all know that sometimes there's tech stuff. Okay. I see that someone said hi. I can't see who, though. I wish I could see who you were. So please do write questions. This is going to be a long one, a thorough one, a deep one. There's so much to talk about. I'm going to see if I can go live without you joining the live stream on Instagram, on Moon Rising Circle. And that is okay. So
thank you for that.
I'm being told to put the volume down on my phone. Thank you, wonderful angel from above. So first, and also on Gwen's phone, but anyway, it doesn't really matter because we're gonna just do it the more simple way. So why we are here, we are telling the full story. But first, oh my God, hi Des! That's one of my best friends and also an incredible healer as well. But first, who is Gwen? Gwen is a dear friend of mine, a fellow singer, a writer, an extraordinaire, absolutely brilliant woman. Can you introduce yourself a little bit while I finish setting this up?
Awesome. And let's find out from folks on Instagram if they can still hear me from this broadcast. So yeah, I am Gwendolyn Kuhlman. I am a singer, I am a writer, I'm a producer, and I met Emily several years ago in Germany, where I was a pretty consistent professional choral singer. And yeah, we met and we have both been on these paths of development like ever since. And I have this like incredible insight into her growth because of having met her right before just a lot of stuff started to change. And I can say this work has rooted you tremendously, and the guidance it has given me and the inspiration it has given me has been incredible.
I just want to quickly ask, can you hear us? Can you hear Gwen? Let me know. Sorry, please continue.
Okay, yeah. So I have been asking this question ever since moving back to the States just 4 years ago. How do you make a life and make this art? Because it's not the same situation as being a full-time chorister in Germany. And my relationship with you just opened up this door recently, just this week, to be able to have a conversation with someone who's doing it, someone who is showing what it takes to break out of what you thought success was supposed to look like, what it takes to heal from years of pain and trying to fit into someone else's mold, and what it takes to create this ultimate picture of success, which is something that only you can define. And so I'm so pumped to talk to you today because I think this is the conversation that we need to be having all the time, but especially as singers after the pandemic, because we're all looking up. I mean, I looked up actually in 2018 when I decided to have a kid, I looked up and was like, oh, I actually have other things I care about in my life, and I can't wait around for a casting director. And I started creating my own stuff, and it's been the most fulfilling thing. And you started doing that a couple of years before that, and you have built something. I'm just getting chills talking about it. You've built something really incredible that I believe in and have taken classes and gotten clearings. And I am so grateful for the work you're doing, and I'm excited to share it. And I hope there are some singers on here, because I hope I know we'll get into those questions that I know we're all asking after the pandemic.
For sure. So for everyone watching, this is definitely not just for singers, but as two singers and as a singer who's healed from so much because of that, we're all going to touch on that as well. I kind of want to go back to why we're doing this, and I just want to volunteer that. This is so needed. This is so needed. So first of all, well, one, I want you all to know me even better. And by that, I mean, there's some things I have no clue what's going to come out, but I'm happy to go as open. I offered honest as fuck. It was my offering. That you may, we may be very close, whomever you are listening, and there may still be things that you learn about me with this that you have not or would not have thought of. I think people just look at someone, and I'm proud to say that I, at this point, do feel safe to call myself successful, but it was a lot of mountains to climb here and a lot of work to get here. And I absolutely believe that is possible for every single person to make as much money as they could possibly want, to do what their soul is calling them to do. And if you don't know what that is yet, to find what that is, whatever it may be. And more so that at the root of that, to unpack and heal and move through all the things that are getting you from point A to point B. So let's go back to when I first, we're just fixing my bra strap. As I said, this will be the most transparent live I've ever done. And I'm cool with it. I like it. Now we're good. Now I'm comfortable. Back before, okay, when I met Gwen, you talked about a pivotal point, or I don't know if this was said or not. It was a pivotal point of change. It was 2016. It was the first time I had ever left the States and was going, I think I want more for myself. I feel so drawn to the other side of the world. I did not yet have intuitive healing gifts. I had no clue if that was even real. I was curious. I actually did like tarot when I was a child. But honestly, because all of you know that I'm really, really spiritual. If you had asked me what I believe in back in grad school when I was at Florida State, I would have said the flying spaghetti monster, and I would have told you no. Not kidding. That's what I would have said. I was wrong. Not that that's, quote, wrong, but it was wrong for me. What happened since is so much that unfolded that needed to unfold. So, but if you go back to 2016, 2015, 2014, quite honestly, I was a mess. You just wouldn't know it. I hid it. I hid it exceptionally well, as we all do. When there's something really personal, we don't share it with the world. The only people that see it are like, the people we date, our best friends, maybe our parents, and for sure my old roommates. I don't know if that's going to happen, but like to my first roommates in Boston, I'm so sorry because you saw me crying a lot. So where I was then was a person who was very unsure about herself, and a person, there's so much glare, and a person who just really, like, the idea of getting on stage and singing around the world would have petrified me, no matter how much I told myself I actually wanted it. And the idea of me making a lot of money would have been, quote, out of the question, because I had in my head, singers don't make money. I call bullshit. We can make whatever the hell we want. And I just had all these preconceived notions of things. We haven't even started, and I'm like, this is why we're here. But yeah, I definitely have come a long way. So we are going to go into all of the details of where it was, and I will let you ask the questions. I'm sorry, I just got excited.
No worries. And I think our meet cute was just so great.
Yeah, guys, you want to tell me too?
So I, the singer world is very small. So a mutual singer friend out of Boston put us in touch because you needed a place to stay in Berlin. And we decided to meet up after you had an audition with an agent. And I'm walking over there and I'm getting messages from you. I'm stuck in an elevator. Like, yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah. And I get there and I'm thinking, oh my God, she must be so freaked out because I've got some serious claustrophobia issues. Like, oh Lord. And I'm walking up there expecting this panicked woman, and you're just like chatting up the super in the building and singing, and like we sing together, and then you finally get out and we go down the street and get some awesome Indian food and have a beer.
I was singing Spring Low Sweet Chariot from inside the elevator because I was scared shitless. And singing with Gwen was calming. And then the really funny thing is, guys, today the elevators in my building always work fine, like pretty much always fine. And today they were not working. And so I walked 17 flights up and I was like, thank you, universe, for the extra exercise. Because that is how we handle Mercury Retro. So that was our meet cute. It was cute as hell. And let's get started. And also,
so now
please comment that you're here. I want to know who's watching. Tell me. Sorry. Yeah.
hello everyone. So yeah, now I am so interested in origin stories. And you have two. You have that of a singer and that of a healer. And I am a singer too. So I'm kind of interested. When did you start singing? What led you to this industry?
I was always singing. Always. I mean, I was like the little kid that was singing in the food stores, singing a whole new world, like literally always singing. Hello, just so you all know, I can't see for some reason, I can't see who comments. Oh, I can, wait. I can see Paula.
Sometimes you can. Hi, Paula.
Hi, Paula. Oh, Paula's known me a long time, so you're going to love this. But the person that said hi before, I can't see who you are. So it's good if you can write your name because I'd love to know who's watching. Anyway, so how did I get started with singing? A lot of it gets due to a teacher, a voice teacher, Dr. Kathleen Arecki, who I was introduced to in high school. Well, even to go, let's go back. Age 14, okay? I was, like the diary woman. Oh my God, if I could find my old diaries. Hi, Stephanie. All my old diaries would be like, oh God, this man broke my heart. But there was a point in high school, it was early high school, when I was in a select choir and we sang And So It Goes. And it was, as a person who, again, as I said, we're going to go into like all my old worries, all my old traumas. I'm just going to air them out and we're going to be cool with it. So I had never really felt a sense of belonging ever in my whole life up until about this moment. And I was in this small choir of like 8. And hi, Pete. And we were singing And So It Goes. And it was my first time ever, and you'll get this as a singer, like having that whole moment together. And then at the same time, hi, Karen, it being a text, words that absolutely spoke right to me. I wouldn't have said soul because I didn't know that was a thing yet. And I just remember feeling this overwhelming feeling. Actually, at this point, I would say it was angelic connection. I just had no clue it was angelic connection that overtook me. I remember writing in my diary when I got home that day, I want to be a singer for the rest of my life. Still doing it.
Wow.
And then it led to a teacher, and that teacher changed my life. And that was Kathleen Arecki, who passed in 2016, which also led to me making some of the big choices I did, her passing. But why did I choose to be a singer? It seemed like the only possibility for me, and not from like a limited choices perspective, but from I knew in my heart I had to sing. But what's really interesting, if you go into like my college papers that I wrote when I was at Plymouth State, and Paula knows me from all the way back then, I wrote literally, and I still actually, guys, I'm not kidding. I actually have a paper up in my room over there that I take with me every single place I move. And it has to do with this time. But one of the things I wrote in a paper was, I want to be a singer. I want to marry music, I think is what I wrote. Because, and guys, I promise I'll read all comments, but I know me and I'll lose my train of thought if I don't focus first. But please keep commenting because I'll read them at the end. And I will answer FAQ if we have them. I would love to do FAQ. But anyway, I wrote that I want to be a singer because it makes people feel different. It makes people change their emotional state. I know that music can do that. And that's why I want to be a singer for the rest of my life. Little did I know just how important that single mission would become.
Mm-hmm.
Now kind of everything. I hope I answered that. But yeah, it was nonstop. I mean, I've been the most determined human ever, from school to audition to, it has not stopped. The only thing that even shifted it slightly was the corona pandemic, and nothing has stopped. It just meant that I had to pause a little bit of things, as we all did. And it allowed me to refocus on, some foundational work in my life, which Moon Rising came in. So that is how I became a singer. I've always been a singer. It's just in my blood.
It's just who you are.
Yeah.
So before you started your healing work, what point were you at in your singing career? And pretty much all singers have their side hustle. So I wanted to know, what kind of jobs did you do while you were working to launch your singing career?
I'll start with the second and then remind me of the first. What kind of jobs I did originally? I worked in jewelry for a while, actually, when I was in Boston. It's funny because, again, like stones, crystals, I was working with crystals. I just didn't know that was important. But honestly, I wasn't really happy there. I remember like going upstairs to the top and being on my phone, and my phone being like, you can live your dream life. And me just like, ah! And then the intercom would come on and be like, Emily, get back to work. Not kidding, that actually happened. Sorry, Barmakians, if any of you see this, which you may. At least one of you is, I'm still friends with 2 people from that time. There were beautiful moments to it and learning moments, but it wasn't quite for me. What else I did? I did, of course, church work. Gosh, if you really go back, I worked in other like customer service sales stuff. But I really realized I don't like working for other people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. For me, it's not where I feel the spark. So what did I do? I was a receptionist. I mean, I did all the temp work. I did like all the okay, what does a singer do? You do temp work, you do church work, you do this gig. I did a lot of recording stuff too, but I did a lot of teaching, as many of us do. What was the first question? Where was I
At what point were you at in your singing career? And you're kind of almost answering it like in how you're talking about your side hustles, because it's like everything we can do to kind of like make us ready to leave, like anything we can just drop so we can take that gig.
Right. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It was always like that, right? Because, if there was ever a person I worked for that was like, you can't take this audition, I'd be like, see ya.
Yeah. Priorities. Yeah.
Right. Where was I career-wise? There was a big shift that happened in my life that I think led to the start of healing. And it started really with my teacher passing away. That was a huge wake-up call, because she was always like, get to the other side of the world, sing around the world. You have such a gift. And I heard her, but I didn't really quite believe it until years later, let's be honest. So that catapulted my Berlin excursion, my Germany excursion. And then what happened? Okay, fast forward. Oh, I did have one breakthrough moment that happened before my healing career started. And that was with Sound Icon, where I basically like lucked into the perfect gig that fit my crazy, strange, high voice and showcased it, because finally something that was like not really seen in like your standard Things Change, Joe, like Little Women opera. I mean, I love Little Women too. It wasn't quite shown. Well, yes, Paula, of course my roommates at Plymouth State were an important part of my life journey. Everybody is. Duh, come on. Yes, shout out to Danielle. Oh, that is her mom. I love it. Oh, yes. By the way, I don't want to get up too far, but I remember being a guinea pig for when you were still becoming a Reiki master, and still very much appreciate the Reiki you did for my cat, Jack. So, okay, before I started being a healer, because that was 2018 when that happened. Let's rewind. I had my breakthrough moment the first time. Though, there was this it would take so much guts for me to do, again, you wouldn't know it. I looked confident as heck on stage, but if before I went on, the days before, it was just like, I don't know how to do this. How can I do this? Am I good enough to do this? But you just wouldn't know that was there. And then 2017 happened, and 2017 was like, I came in like a wrecking ball, like truly that moment in my life. And that's what started the healing, right? So where was my career? I was it was okay. It was good in Boston. I would say it was good in Boston. It was starting to get good in Boston, but it was not yet at the international stage. And also, I personally would not have been ready for the international stage. I think the pressure of that I would have felt at that point, or I would have perceived it as pressure. So is the question, how did my healing get started? Or do you want me to go into
So
that?
actually that is my next question. Like, you've answered a lot of questions about how life was before healing. And I'm interested in what brought you to healing.
Yes. Okay. So sorry in advance if you are a person I used to date at all, and you watch this in any capacity, because I will be honest. Okay. So my breakup in 2017 was really the spark that lit the fire that led me to healing work. And I didn't even know I was looking for it. It's not even like I did not go, I want a healer. You know what I mean? Like everyone says, like, go to therapy. And I did go to therapy, right? And I personally didn't take to therapy. I didn't really like it. I tried, it never felt correct to me. I did bits of EMDR and it dug up stuff. And I do see your comment. We'll reply in a moment. Yes, I was shy. Oh my God. I was talking about that with my personal trainer today. I was like, I have changed so much. So anyway, 2017, my breakup happened, or a breakup happened, not just mine. Obviously, it was mutual. And this sparked a lot because that, of course, was a lot of pain, right? And it wasn't just that. At the same time, my best friend of 14 years, it was around this time, not the exact time, our friendship was, so two very crucial people in my life were suddenly like, this was really hard for me. And so I remember I wrote, this is exactly what happened. I was living in Jamaica Plain in that like super cool home that I was still trying to find like the next dream home. And it's coming late this summer, it's coming. I wrote on my mirror, I am strong. And it was the first time I'd ever done something like that. And I felt like such a weirdo, right? I was like, what am I doing? It was the first time I wrote, I am strong. I want to be strong. I am strong. And I remember I said something to like universe, and I was just like, help me to be strong. I did that. Never did that before. And then, like, I kid you not, like a few days later, my hairdresser, Jamie, if you're here, thank you for this moment, was like, well, I know a karma healer, and she's really phenomenal. And she's really helped a lot of women to step into their power in business and career, and to help them advance their careers like 10x. And you should really meet her. I feel like you should meet her. And I was like, I kind of feel like that's not a thing, but sure, I'll go. Good thing I went. So I went and I met her, and I was so skeptical. I remember her going in and being like, okay, well, these are your assigned angels. And I was like, my what? And everything she said just disarmed me, because I came in like with such a wall. I was like, this isn't real. I don't think karma's a thing. I liked, honestly, what I used to do, which is so not great. I used to challenge people like her. I used to challenge healers and be like, you can't help me. You can't help me. That's honestly, you'd never guess that about me now, but that's true. It's just the truth. I promised the truth, and here we go. So she did my first ever set of karma healings. And I don't know how much of that you want me to go into now, but I can just dive if you like.
I mean, it is my next question. So if you want to go ahead and dive in.
Well, first, okay, I'm going to bookmark that because I want to get to Paula's question or comment. I meant that you were so shy. Your mother drove you everywhere. Oh, God, this is, oh, God. Your mother drove you everywhere and had you questioning your innate strength. That's true. That's true. Your friends had your back and you all bloomed together. That is true. That is true. That's true. A lot of the stuff I had to rise from was from my mom and my dad, mostly my dad, but both. And believe me when I say, Paula, I've had many a beautiful conversation with my mother since, because I've done so much healing work. This is the cool thing about healing work, just to jump ahead. When I do healing work between me and my mother and our relationship over many lifetimes, it actually helps her. Even when she's not, like, she rises. No, it's fine. This is a transparency time. It's fine. But I was just like, oh, we're there. I had a very I have a very but she's not this way anymore. She's really not. She was very like a hover mom. Mom was a hover mom. And so I really did not learn strength or independence in a natural, like from child, growing up way. I didn't. I had to learn it later because, it was like, let me keep you safe. Let me keep you here. And if I keep you here, nothing bad will happen to you, which was, I know where that came from now, but it wasn't helping me to grow. So yes, you're totally right. I was so like, I would have never spoken up like this years ago. It would have never happened ever. In fact, actually, me as like a kid, I would be the last person to raise their hand and speak because I would be afraid of saying something wrong. And that tells you just how much my throat chakra has shifted. So where were we? We were on.
Yeah. We were on like, what did you have to heal from?
Well,
there we go.
Here. The Band-Aid's gonna get ripped. Okay, so first let's explain what karma healing is, because everyone listening is like, I know some of you are gonna know what this is, but some of, like, if you're someone that listens to Moon Rising a lot, you know what it is, and if not, you're gonna be like, what the heck is karma healing? So karma healing is the one that works when nothing else is strong enough. It is the one that gets to the root of the issue, and it was the game changer in my life. And for every single client I have done this with, they always say this: wow, or I didn't even know that was possible, or holy shit, is pretty much the summary of what people say. You could also testify this as a person who's done it, right? So basically, little lesson on karma. We have our physical body, right? We can touch it, we can feel it, we know it's there. We have our emotional body. When you go to conventional therapy and you're feeling all the things, this is your emotional body. But everything is energy, my friends, everything. And so you also have an energetic body around you, also known as an aura, like a little egg around you. Every single person has one. Every single person. You ever walk into a room and you go, why am I so magnetized to that person? Or why do I feel like I'm not supposed to step into that room? Or why do I feel like I shouldn't talk to that person? Or why is that person like so bright and shiny and I just want to know them? It's probably because of their aura. So within our aura, you hold everything. You hold every negative memory and trauma from this lifetime and from every lifetime you've ever lived, which also goes, Emily, what if I don't believe in past lives? If so, that's cool. I respect you. I do though, and I've seen a lot. And so with these, I know it's a lot to process that a person has been through so much. But also another way, if you're on the fence about past lives, also process, how is it possible that a person goes into this lifetime as like a toddler and yet somehow has so much knowledge in a certain like area of life, or incredibly like genius in a certain area? Or how is it that you just know something? Or those moments of deja vu, or when you meet someone and you have that connection to them that's just like, I feel like I've known you before. And that's a beginning of past lives. So all lifetimes really, because there's multiple. Anyway, so karma is this. In your aura, you are holding every single imprint memory that you've gone through, not just in this lifetime, but in every single lifetime. So let's say this is one of the karmas I had to clear. This is one of the biggest jerk of karmas I had to clear. So again, I went to this lady because I was sad about a breakup, right? And so she was like, you have very intense rejected bride karma. And I was like, what the hell is that? So rejected bride, think about this. In another lifetime, a person thought they were going to be with the love of their life. They thought they were going to get married, and then swiftly that relationship ends and they perceive that they are, quote, rejected. So they hold that imprint or that energy and that loss of being a rejected wife, no, not quite wife, bride, lover, partner, right? And so she said, Emily, have you always had a pattern of men that you would get super close to, like that things would be sudden, like whoosh, they would just suddenly leave? And I was like, yeah, that's been one of them. Yeah. Every time I really, really loved a guy. Yeah. And I was like, oh shit. So basically karma, you are taking what happened in a previous lifetime and releasing it from every single life you've ever lived. I know it might take some like, thinking here. And when that happens, not instantly, well, sometimes it can be instant, sometimes it takes months. When that happens, you get a release that I can't even possibly describe in words. You just have to experience it. It's like the tears after a karma healing session are like, it's like your whole soul purges. Like, oh, whoa, I've never felt so free. I remember my first time after a karma healing, I felt like there was silence for the first time ever. And I think a lot of people say that. You said that too. Like, wow, I'm not buzzed around by noise. There's just peace. So does that make sense as what karma healing is? Or if it's about money, let's just quickly talk about money one, and then I'll tell you what I actually cleared. And I love that we have a total of 17 people watching. Thank you all for watching.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. And for those on Instagram, I'm sorry, I'm turning the other way. I see you. I know you're here. Hi. Love you. Anyway, so let's say it is something to do with money. I'm trying to think of a good money one. Okay, another one I had to clear, which actually relates to my mom. Failed self-provider. So again, I had
this is so big. It's so important.
I had such a hover mom. Had. I don't think she's this way anymore. I really don't. I keep going back and forth. I'm like, is she still? No, we made peace. We're good. That's recent though, like really recent that we made peace. Anyway, so because of that, she always had this innate thing of when you fall, I will catch you. And because I didn't have enough nurturing and care and love as a child, I wanted that nurturing. And so I admit that because I wasn't making a lot of money back then, I wasn't at all, I many times would turn to her for extra financial help. So I was not a full self-provider. I was like partially providing for the self and not super, super efficiently or effectively. And so I would turn to mom, and mom would always save my ass, which is beautiful that she did, but I had failed self-provider karma. So what does that mean? That means in another lifetime, I was not able to provide for myself either. When I'm doing these sessions, I actually saw, this is verbatim, like from a past life regression I did. There was a woman who was ill, and so her health affected her being able to provide for herself. And so she carried into this lifetime, not only failed self-provider, but some issues to do with viewing herself as ill and connecting health and illness to money. So that's our mini lesson on karma. Hope that's pretty clear. So what do I have to clear? Yeah, this is where we're going to get personal attack. The people knowing, okay, so what can this look like? It can be a root karma, such as orphan, or like, again, someone who basically was an orphan in a past life, or death in childbirth, which literally means that there was some kind of big trauma around the time of childbirth. By the way, if you're listening to this and you are female and you've ever like had issues with time of birth or had a lot of fertility issues or had a lot of womb issues, you probably have death in childbirth karma, meaning literally that there was a time where either you died at birth or near birth or that a child did. So it's worth clearing.
And I can speak to how it's, and just, I think it's so interesting to understand how that manifests in your life. So like when you're talking about failed self-provider, you're always seeking a provider and feel so dependent upon that provider. And with death and childbirth, there's this feeling like in the process of creation, you might die.
Yes, and I'm glad you said that actually, because death and childbirth is one of them that really affects achieving destiny because of creation. It's one of many.
And I was not planning to open up today, but you cleared that for me. And I had a C-section for my child, and you cleared that for me recently. And before that, and even before having the kid, I had always felt like a bear was chasing me while I was making something that mattered to me. And I've had now 2 really amazing experiences creating something since you cleared that. And I did not feel like I was being hunted. And that's my testimonial right there. I mean, it was incredible. It was incredible for me.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. I mean, that's exactly what it's like. It's not that there's like some green neon sign that says, boom, your karma has been cleared. It's that you look back and go, oh, actually, that's fucking gone. So Let me tell you some of the things that were cleared from, this is August 11th, 2017. We're going way back. Holy shit. Because if I look back at these now, I don't relate to any of them. So, victim trauma and wounding of betrayal, fear and expectation of betrayal, orphan, rejected bride, defense of rejecting others. Oh my God, that is so true. Actually, like in my early time in Boston, every single guy that got close to me, I would be like, get away. Rejection imprint vulnerability, as in I would be attracted to people who would reject me so that I could try to prove I was worthy by not being rejected. Anyone here relate to that? Because damn. Victim trauma and sudden unexpected romantic rejection. We have a lot of things about rejection here. Because I also should say karma is a web. So it's never just one. It's one that relates to like many, right? And so this was my web of rejection. Fear and expectation of sudden unexpected romantic rejection. Primary defense of constructing a transitional romantic position. Let me tell you, that one has been a beast all the way up through about March of this year. Sacrificial relationship sustainer. Yeah, true. It was there. I don't even know what this one means exactly. Failed dark fantasy deconstructor. That's interesting. Violent death. Oh my God, death. Let's talk about death. So really quickly, how you've died in a past life absolutely affects you in this one. Those affect your health. So if you're someone that's had a lot of health issues, it can relate to that. Those affect your fears, your life force. And I have seen some weird shit in sessions with clients. I have seen people like get beheaded. I have seen people like get burned at the stake. I've seen some nasty stuff. And if you've ever felt like there's just something you can't shake and you don't know why, it's probably because of a nasty death. And Paula, I see you. I promise I'll get back. Let's see. Defense of avoiding fulfillment. Eep! How many of us can relate to that? You've been through so much that the idea of having fulfillment is freaking awful. And so you go, nope, stay away. Fear and expectation that things won't work out for you. That's actually one a lot of people have that like prevents them from actually moving forward. Hunger for love, hunger for transformation, failed romantic position, constructor, developer, sustainer, acquirer. A lot of stuff was about my love life in the very beginning. Forbidden lover. Yeah.
Sorry to cut off this like incredible list. My God. But I mean, I think you're a healer and you're a teacher at the same time. And I know personally that the people who had to learn the most are the ones who are able to teach the most. And I'm wondering, like, how did all of these karmas you had to clear, now looking back on it, how do you see that they manifested in your life before you had gone to this healing?
Oh my God. Everywhere. I mean, I did get rejected all the time. Death and childbirth, I've had back and forth like ovary issues for years. Let's see. Avoiding fulfillment. I think if you had presented me with a lot of money when I was anything fulfilling, I would have been like, nope, can't happen. Like I really, honestly, as I read forward, like there's a lot of things about like a hunger for drama and chaos, which again, you would never expect from me now, but absolutely was true. I like thrived on like the more dramatic and wrong and bad it was. I was like, yeah, because in my childhood, my dad and all that stuff was chaos, and in other lifetimes, chaos and fear and danger. Trying to think. Are
you comfortable talking about your dad and all that stuff? What did that mean?
So, and we should talk about this because, okay, also how I became a healer and like 10x'd it. So let's start with what Stephanie said. So this began with like me doing Reiki, right? Really light Reiki. I had no clue that it would go as far as it did. I would have considered myself like a healer light for like the first, like until about halfway through 2019 when I was like touring all over the world. It was getting stronger and stronger and stronger. But my like dad wound came full force up in 2019 to be healed. And It was something that I avoided my whole life. It was something I did like a little bit, because it was so scary. And because anytime I took it to a therapist, nothing got better. EMDR, nothing got better. In fact, in some ways, it almost got worse. And so me healing from my dad wound is actually what opened up karma healing with me. But what had happened? He was awful. He was awful. He is not a kind human. I don't know how much we should air, but as I said, I'd be honest. He was every kind of abusive. Emotional. He absolutely fucked with my head. Physical. And the reason that my life got knocked upside down in 2019 is I never quite pieced together that he was sexually abusive until I was on a gig. I was on a gig in freaking Austria in February 2019. And I did something. What did I do? I think I did Akashic Records with somebody. And I saw a memory of mine that always was like this big blur that I was shoved away. And truly, like, things with my dad were so haunting that every single person I dated, I would be like in bed with them, and like I would have nightmares. I would wake up with nightmares. And they'd be like, "You're talking in your sleep again." And I'd be like, "Crap, they're gonna know I'm not okay." But I would tell them, obviously. But it always was a shame to have, like, I felt like I always had like this ghost following me of being like, okay, anytime I get close to someone, I have to be like, okay, so I actually had a very abusive father. It was that haunting. But anyway, in 2019, I realized that he was sexually abusive too. And I remember, I was so sick on that gig. So sick. That was the start of me like really, really unpacking this. And I remember unpacking it with my mother on the phone, screaming, being like, "How could you let this happen?" And so that began about 6 months of trying to finally work through this. And I was like, why? Like, at this point, like, I was pretty spiritual, right? Like, I had already started Moon Rising. Like, it had just begun. I wasn't yet in my power as a healer, but I was like, why is it that I have to fully work? Like, why? And the messages were always the same. One, if you ever want to have like a full relationship where this isn't haunting you, you must work through this. It's time. And two, in order to step into your full power as a singer and as a person, then you must finally defeat this battle and win. And so I was like, how do I do it? How do I do it? And then every single thing. So one layer happened when I was in Austria on that gig, and I would be like weeping in the night and then go sing, weeping in the night and then go sing. But of course, I always had healers I could go to, but also, again, self-healing too, for sure. But what happened exactly? How did I work through that? It was over a period of months. And I did take it to a karma healer because I only knew, like, there weren't many people that did this, but that was a little bit of what I did. And then the other piece was, there was this big notion within me that I had to defeat this monster myself. I had to slay this dragon myself, even though I was like, how am I going to do that? So I did another Reiki attunement, and I was already like, with Reiki, there's different levels for those who don't know, and there's also different types of Reiki. So in 2000, when I was in Boston, I did Usui. Now I'm master in Usui, master teacher in Karuna Holy Fire. Yeah. And also there's a thing called Threshold Reiki. So I was doing Threshold Reiki, and one of those prompted the big final time of and this, I can't wait to tell this part. It's actually really cool. It was like, okay, so this Reiki attunement happened, and anytime you do another layer of healing on yourself, more things will come up for you to heal, more battles will come up so that you can rise and go higher, higher, higher in your personal inner staircase of ascension. Mm-hmm. And what happened? I started like getting these visions of, okay, so I was like so determined. I remember lying down in meditation being like, okay, take me to my childhood house. I am ready. And I like
doing this.
We're going in. And I went in and I like felt the most frightening presence, horrifying. And then I ran back out. And then I started and then it started this trauma, because truly everything my dad put me through was trauma. I mean, horrible things, like drag me down the staircase, pull me by the arm, punish me, tell me this one, that I'll be a nobody Oh, no, sorry, a juvenile delinquent, and I'll never amount to anything.
Mm.
Womp womp. You are so wrong. So anyway, it was manifesting in the form of spiders. I started getting nightmares about spiders. And I started seeing spiders in my German home. And I'm like, make them stop. I remember learning for a gig being like, I don't want to deal with spiders anymore. And then one time I had a nightmare. And if you, by the way, I did a reel on this of how do you know if your trauma is not God? And one of the signs is nightmares, for sure. Another one is if you react rather than respond. And both of them were still happening in my life. And I had a nightmare that there was a spider that I saw and was like, I'm going to kill it. I'm going to kill it. And then I swallowed it. Because again, I always swallowed my words. And so I was like, I'm just going to bury it. Because guys, that's what we do, right? And that's what we have to stop. Ooh, we got to stop burying our fucking trauma. That doesn't help you. So I swallowed the spider. And then what happened? Oh, and then I had another weird experience where I felt like there was something very scary in my room. And it turned out that was like a manifestation of fear of my father. And then finally, here's how I did it. I was in my German home in Stuttgart. And I was like, it was like the first time ever I had felt power. I made the power. I stood there and I figured this out and this is something I've done with my clients ever since. I had never done this before. No one taught me this. No one. And I asked for his soul to be in front of me. I was like, Ned, go in front of me right now. I want to speak to you. And by the way, also I should say there was something actual physical I did. I did send him a letter, not because I wanted a response, but because I wanted to send a letter. And boy, was it a hell of a letter. Oh, there's some juicy shit in that. Do I think he read it? Yes, because as many of you know, I am intuitive. I do believe he did. I didn't want to respond. I never want him to speak to me again. Like I'm good. So anyway, that was the physical action I did. But here, I asked for his soul to appear in front of me. And this was the moment I learned how to do karma clearing, or part of the moment anyway. This is how I learned how to clear karmic contracts. So, and I also explain what that is. I began to see the truth of the situation. My entire life, I have seen it that subconsciously, and maybe some of you can relate to this, that I was this little girl and he was this big, scary man who would hurt me, who would threaten whether or not I received love, who had like the key to so much, right? And this big, scary man that made me angry and made me feel powerless. And so I had to sit there and go, is this the truth? And I realized it wasn't. I realized I shifted it. Rather than it being that he was way up here and I was way down here, I decided that it was different, that it was actually, nope, I'm here and you're here. And I felt bad for him because I don't think he ever was mentally quite together. He was not meant to be a father at all. My poor mother chose him because she was like really wanting love and really wanting a baby. She was ready for a family, but he wasn't ready. Even though the therapist was like, he's as ready as he'll ever be. He was not ready because, and this is how trauma works, guys. His parents didn't give him the love he needed. He didn't trauma is passed down. It is generational. It is ancestral. And it is our fucking job to fucking stop it. It is our job. So here I am being afraid of this man my whole life, giving him so much goddamn power. No, turn the fucking tables. And so I realized, actually, this is a guy who ended up with a responsibility that he didn't mean to have, really. He was never ready to be a dad. And so I began to really feel bad for him. If a person hasn't shown you how to love completely, how are you supposed to know how to love and care and nurture completely? How are you supposed to know what's wrong? I mean, my God, I'm not going to, but if I did a karma clearing on him, whoo, he'd have some heavy trauma. So this is a very broken man, a very deeply broken man. And actually, I'm tuning in that some of this is about his dad, Paul, who has since passed. But anyway, we learn things, we pick up things, we absorb things. So he not only, took in things from his parents, and his own upbringing, but also from his past lives, his parallel lives, his future lives. So then you've got a mountain of, and I also in this moment saw that him and I traveled together in many lifetimes, and he often was my abuser. I had never yet stopped it. And a lot of it was sexual abuse. I had never yet stopped it. So in this powerful moment, I don't even know what month, it was somewhere mid 2019 on my yoga mat, okay, in Stuttgart. I fixed this. And then I saw something I had never seen. And again, I have to realize I have to explain these things. I am a psychic. I am open about it. Take it or leave it. So I see things, I hear things, I know things, I feel things. It's not a 24/7 kind of gig. That would be kind of annoying, but I can turn it to work at any time I want to, unless I'm like dying sick, then maybe that. Anyway, so I saw a karmic contract. I saw a parchment of paper that detailed all the lives we've had together and how we've always grouped together. And actually, what was sad about this is I learned that he was supposed to be better to me in this lifetime. Didn't quite happen. But I saw this karmic contract and I commanded it to be destroyed. But in order to do so, I had to say why. And I had to do this from my soul. And then I learned in that moment that I'm a far more fucking powerful healer than I even knew. So I destroyed the karmic contract. And I can't even tell you the feeling that came when that lifted. It was like the world's biggest boulder suddenly burst into flames and I was free. I have never had a night.
Chills all over.
Me too. There were like small little lessons that came since. But in terms of my like burden with him, like the main one, I have never had a nightmare since. I have never felt like this was stopping me from a relationship or dating or a first date or whatever, anything since. I have never felt like a victim of blah, blah, blah ever since. It has been completely gone from that moment. And that was truly the moment I realized I'm fucking powerful. And so then I'm going, what the hell are karmic contracts? So again, I was attuned in Reiki, right? We some of us know Reiki is like gentle healing. Very gentle. Reiki's wonderful, but Reiki doesn't touch karmic contracts. So what's a karmic contract? Every single person you've ever been super close to in your life where you feel like you have some kind of bond, or let's say a boss who's treated you like shit, or someone that's given you tons and tons of love, someone you're super close to, you have a contract with them. And that means you came into this lifetime together and you said, hello, sir. Hello, ma'am. I agree that I'm going to learn XYZ with you in this lifetime. Ready? That's literally what a karmic contract is. So I don't know what he was supposed to learn, but I was supposed to learn my power. Boy, did I. So after that, I learned about karmic contracts. And then literally, I'm not kidding you. It was like the middle of the night and I was woken up, and it was actually, this was in my second German home. So it was a few months later, actually. It was like October. I was woken up in the middle of the night and have you ever had like an orb of energy in your hands? Or if you've ever done like acupuncture and you feel like, whew, what's that weird feeling?
Oh yeah.
So I had that over my entire body. And the best way I can describe it is like an attunement from spirit. It's the best way I can describe it. Like when you sign up for Reiki, you have someone personally attune you or help you step in to be able to access this energy. And literally that night is when I was given information on how I would help people with past lives and in a different way than I had observed before. Similar, but different. And that was the start of how I started clearing karma. And I literally tried it on a client the very next day. And she was like, I've never seen anything like that. Give me more. I know I ranted about that for a while, but that's a really important piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's so poetic how it's something you kind of pressed back for so long. And it's something that you've hinted at in the Moon Rising group, because I've been keeping up with you since you started this. And it's always been something where I've been like, I'm never about bringing up something with somebody I'm talking to that they don't want to talk about. But you said before this you wanted to talk about it, so I'm just
Yeah.
putting it out there. And um, and it was always an unanswered question for me. And it was always like, why is she pushing that back? And
Wrong.
so thank you for sharing that with us, because I think it's such an honest place, and it tells me a story I didn't know about the effect it's really had on you. I know from what it's like to be around you and how different that is, but I didn't know everything that cleared for you. And I was curious, you had worked with a karmic healer like way back in the beginning in 2017. Did you go back to anyone and say, look, I think I can do this thing? How did that kind of develop?
Great question. Bookmark that because I want to get to Paula's question first. When you enter each new life, do we always get to interact with the same people? Like, do we keep our families, etc.? Do we start over every time with completely new people? Actually, more often than not, you have soul families and you do actually meet each other again. It's really, really cool. One of my, and I don't know if she's still on Instagram, but one of my biggest clients doing a full package with me right now. We're always talking about her family, and her two daughters and her husband travel together in clusters, and they have incarnated into multiple lives, different forms. Like maybe it's someone's like a different gender, someone's the mom, and they like, yeah. So most of the time it's that deep and that long. And also Paula, knowing you and your family very well, most definitely you guys have been with each other before, 1000%. So, okay, your question was, what was your question?
Once you realize, like, I have this gift, I definitely have this gift, like, did you go back to that first karma healer, or did you find somebody else and say, hey, I think I got this gift? How did that happen?
So at that point, I had only been doing, I called them, and this is what I originally did with Stephanie back in the day. I called them energy transformation sessions, and they were, quote, just Reiki. But even in my just Reiki sessions, they started getting deeper and deep. Actually, there was another person that was like sent into my life that was like, okay, try this. See if you like, it was like God would just send me people to be like, here's how you learn about your gifts. Like she helped me go deeper, even in Reiki. What if we go into like, there were things I accessed. I don't even know where she is now, but she actually also helped me on my path. And I should also mention, there was a Reiki healer that I was very close friends with that I would not have started Reiki without her. Most definitely, I owe a lot to that woman, even though we no longer talk. And I hope she's super, super well in case she watches this. So what happened? I think I don't remember if I reached out to the original karma healer or not. I think I tried to, and she didn't respond, and I found that strange. And then there was a person that she had worked with, and he was who I knew to go to. And I was like, I think I have this. Teach me. And we didn't connect for a while. And then I did learn some of his ways for a while. And I did work with him, and he was like, yes, you do have this gift. Yes, that's very good. That's how he talks. And then I got adventurous, and my gifts opened more and more and more. And how to do sound healing in a way that wasn't just singing opened up last year, which is worth mentioning. And so I remember later saying to him, I believe that it's possible to clear karma through sound, and I think it's possible in a group. And he was like, and he's been doing this for 30 years, right? Like, he's like, I don't think you can clear karma in a group. And this is back when I was like, you did this program, I think, right? Love, Money, Empowerment was the first ever program I ran. And I was like, I really want to clear karma as a group. And he's like, can only be cleared one-on-one. And I was like, I don't think that's true. And so then sound healing opened up. And by the way, another way my gifts grew with that, honestly, is just the amount of them I did. I did so many sessions last year, like hundreds of sessions. And still to this day, I will discover a new karma that no one has ever talked about, or a new angle. Now my karma clearing sessions are not just clearing karma, but also going into past life regression, which that one no one taught me at all. And clearing it through the regression space. And I mean, I have endless stories I'm able to talk about more, but like, and bloodline healing opened up. That one's recent. That's like 3 weeks ago. Like healing pipelines through families. And
Mhm.
also like in the last 3 weeks, because every time you level up, more opens. Relationship RX is what I'm going to call it. It's basically two people in a relationship. Can you heal the cords between them and all the past lives they've gone through? Yes, you can. And so I did that with a client recently, and she was like, why is he always angry with me? And so we found out that she was responsible for his death. She may watch this live. Hi, if you do. This is fascinating. Good, I agree. That's why I'm ranting
Totally
on for
true.
an hour. Thanks, Gwen, for being on with me for an hour. Thanks you, everyone,
Oh my God.
for an hour. I love
I could
talking.
literally talk with you about this for days. I think it's so interesting.
Um,
Um, Especially having experienced it, especially having felt it and be like, whoa, like I feel like I should be more skeptical, but when
I
you feel
like
it, you feel it.
exact, and honestly, like I get the skeptical thing. I get it. I was skeptical too, but exactly that. Until you've actually tried this, don't say
Yeah.
anything. So
Yeah.
just try. Which by the way, you can for free this month, June 23rd, June 24th, June 25th, and June 10th, which we will talk about
Mhm.
those events. You can actually flip and try this, and you should. So stay tuned.
For
That
free 99.
for what?
For
Free
free 99.
99. You're a riot. I
I'm back
like.
in Atlanta. I say things. Um,
Oh, sorry. One more thing about that before I forget. I figured out how to do it with groups. Took it to that person and was like,
right.
I believe this is possible. And he said, okay, well, I want to see it. So I did it for him and a bunch of people that are familiar with this kind of work. And he was like, oh, I think you're onto something. And then when I did that, all of them were like, oh my God, I felt you release death in childbirth. I felt you release failed self. Like I felt it. I felt it leave my body. And they were like, I remember this email. I don't remember his name. He was so sweet. He was like, Emily, you figured out something giant. If you can bring this to the world, you will actually help humanity. And I was like, I'm on it. And that's what we're doing, y'all. That's exactly what we're doing. We're clearing karma in groups.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that I like in a wider context, I find so fascinating about all of this, because one thing that we're at in this moment in humanity is we're looking back right now. We're looking back and being like, wait, we used to call those people savages. Are you kidding me? Like we dehumanized people and didn't even think twice about it. Or we like saw we saw women as people to be provided for and people who were in a second level of humanity and were there to serve. And like what baggage do we all carry now in society? What responsibility do we have as artists to help heal that?
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't, and the thing like from working with you and from following what you've been doing is, oh my God, like how can I, as an artist, stand here and expect to help heal, expect to tell stories? Because my thing is stories, your thing is healing, my thing is stories. How can I expect to tell stories in an honest place that go toward that healing space that bring us to seeing each other's humanity if I am not healed myself, if I don't see my whole humanity, if I don't see my whole power? How am I going to do it? And your work, and there's a lot of other work, but I think your work for me has been so helpful in that. And I think I'm on fire about we all need to find what our path is to find that.
To find our thing or to find our inner healing? Which part do you mean?
To find our inner healing.
Amen.
And for our inner healing, we're probably going to find out what our thing is. That You're
Yes.
bringing healing and I'm bringing stories, and I don't know what other people are bringing, but we need it.
So with that, I did a free live, sorry, not live. I did a free reading thread in Moon Rising Circle very recently. Because I also wanted to see who was in the group and kind of lurking and who's not been commenting. I was like, who's here? And a lot of the okay, look into this intuitively questions. A lot of them said, I don't know what my inner purpose is. I feel kind of lost. And my heart goes out to all of them. And so here's what I want to say to that. And also, even where I live right now, with love, in case any of you watch this, a lot of people around me are very lost. And you know what happens? They bury it with alcohol and or drugs, and they go, I hope that I find myself someday.
Mm-hmm.
The way you find yourself is you get back in tune with your soul. You get to know who your soul truly is. And every single person has a beautiful soul who is super fucking worthy, who is there inside you, waiting to be let out and fully seen and fully ready to just, here I am. Every single one of you has an important mission, all different. Every single one of you has an important mission. And so if you're one of those people that's going, I don't know my inner purpose, do not worry. Do not fret. Do not worry for a moment. Instead, choose this. Choose to dedicate to knowing yourself more, to healing every single layer. Because when you do, when you clear every single layer, she knows why I'm laughing, you will find that answer. I promise you, it will come
Mm-hmm.
out. Because the aura, the soul, the journey, it's so clouded by all the, oh, I got paused by all of the I was like, don't pause me. By all of the trauma, by all of the gunk, by all the things that we've not actually worked through. And also to say, no matter who you are, everybody has stuff to work through. Everybody, whether it's yours or your parents that's affected you or past lives, everybody has ways that you can ascend the golden staircase, as I call it, and go even higher by clearing. So if you want that, the answer is clearing all of the gunk and all of the trauma, because it will come out. And also there's some very direct karmas that work with that. And this is the whole reason why we're doing this little mini course, and the bigger reason why for my next big program, which is called Clear. That's exactly what we're going to do. Sorry.
We were talking before this about the staircase, and it's something. It's a concept I've thought about a lot, even in teaching voice, and that's we come around to the same lesson over and over again. It's like there's only a certain number of lessons to learn, but we ascend, or like we get to a deeper understanding of it, and we look back and we're like, oh, I learned this before, but now there's another part of it I need to learn. And like this work of this clearing is almost, there's like a parallel there. There's this like, I have been like spiraling around these other people that I'm attached to, or these lessons I need to learn. And like, I've been on a merry-go-round. I've not been getting up to that next level. And your work is about getting off of that like horizontal plane and going vertical.
100%. Sorry, I was fixing the light on my computer because it was too dark.
No worries.
It's true. It's absolutely true. So what do I mean by the ladder, at least for this in Soul Ascension, that, well, we have the career ladder and we have the ascension ladder. Like, I absolutely think that they're connected. So the more that we work on when I cleared my father wound, I went up a rung. When I made peace with my mother about all the things that happened, and when I cleared failed self-provider, went up a rung. When I cleared this is going to go to a future question. When I cleared all of the judgment around singing and all the fears of judgment, I went up a rung. Didn't mean to make it in front of my face. When I healed from the mother wound and needing her to hold my hand through life, I went up a rung. And this one is recent, when I cleared my final karmic pattern of emotionally unavailable men, I went up a rung. That's the ladder. Everybody has a ladder. Climb your dang ladder, because when you do, you're going to find yourself, you're going to find your soul mission, and you're going to feel empowered like you can't even possibly imagine.
And you touched on this just a second ago, but you've worked with a lot of singers.
Oh, yeah.
And just because we invited a lot of singers to this, maybe they're here. Hello, if you are. And like, what is I think one thing you were telling me that is so interesting is like we got a lot of stuff going on around our throat. Um, like to be in an industry that is all about like we want to hear your voice, we want you to find the truest nature of your voice, like we want you to let it out and be from your whole body, and then we have an industry that is all about yeah, but shut your mouth and get on stage and sing. And I'm curious, like, oh, and get on stage and sing when we give you permission to do so. So I am curious about what is there to heal from that? What do you confront over and over?
So much.
Mhm.
What was the last thing you just said? Get on stage and
Shut up and sing when you get on stage, but also only when we give you permission.
oh, servant slave. Oh my God. Oh, okay. I know this one is a tough one to touch on, right? Because it's like you hear the word slave and you go, Emily.
Yeah.
But it's massive. And I think I've had to clear that from most singers. Like we, must work under your rules, must be mistreated and work under your rules. You only know best. We get to be disrespected. I do what you say. You are the God. Fuck that, walk out. Nope.
Pay me as little as you can possibly let go of.
Yeah, no, not gonna fly. Will not work for pennies. Hi, Amanda. Hi. Yeah, a lot of slave karma is with a lot of singers. And the one you said before, primary defense of silencing. A defense of keeping your mouth shut. A defense of, and also a fear of, let me tune into this. A lot of fear of judgment. But so much of it is about it, like being empowered and finding your own voice. Same for instrumentalists. Oh my God, I love that.
Honey.
Hello. What?
Hi.
Hi, who are you? Hi. I wish I could see your name. I don't know why it's sometimes it says
what is it up? What's up?
And sometimes I just Facebook user. I don't know, but I'm like, I want to know who you are. Yeah, it's just true of any kind of musician, right? Like that, like we want to know your voice, but actually we don't want to know your voice and we don't want to pay you. So with that, a lot, no, not a lot. Like, I'm sorry, every single musician I've ever worked with in this work, a lot of them don't know their value. Almost, I think every single one. And I've had Pete. Hi. I've like every single one. They don't know their value, and so it would be like failed work value communicator would be an example of a karma, like not able to communicate your value. Compartmentalization of self-worth with success. Oh my God, I'm always clearing compartmentalizations, like what we group together. But yeah, the biggest thing is not being able to like really have your voice be heard, being indebted to others, lifestyle of being indebted to others, and a lot of things to do with money and not such good relationships with money and your perceived value. Because yeah, we do know that the music industry is not treated well financially. And I said that to, this sounds so bougie. I said that to my personal trainer and he was like,
I was talking to my masseuse about it,
I did both today. Shameless. I did because I can afford that now. And we should also talk about money because it's really cool.
That's the next question. Awesome.
So yeah, my personal trainer was like, wait, what do you mean singers and musicians aren't paid well? And I was like, So yeah, there's a lot, like I should just make like a bundle pack of what musicians should clear. I will make a bundle pack, but it's been very similar because when I ran Healing Collective, about half were singers. When I ran 21 Days, many of them were singers, and I've also had quite a few one-on-one clients, one of which is still going with me, and she's a singer, and still, we're working through like, okay, this boss from a 9 to 5 treated her like shit, and so we're clearing that, and then like, some singer made her feel like, less than, like, it's every musician has had to fight this battle, and I'm here to say, let's fight together. I'm here for you, and there is something you can do about it. What you should not, or what I respectfully advise you to not do, is to just go, okay, I'm just going to keep burying. Oh, okay. Tiny rant coming. What drives me insane?
I love
What drives Emily insane? Sorry, I don't mean to jump on you. When people only complain and don't do shit about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, because I'm going to let this out. I see this in the singer community all the time. I see a lot of venting. I see a lot of, let's all be sad together. And I get that. That's important too. But do something. Do something about like how you feel on the inside. Actually give this honor and really face the inner battles of what's coming up. Because if you're feeling angry, it means there's repressed anger. So you got to find out why and heal it. Don't just complain. And same thing for like the picture readings. Don't just say, okay, why is this happening to me? Say, why is this happening? What can I freaking do about it? There is something you can do about it. You can choose to heal. And if the word heal is not, spicy enough or feel good enough for you, find another word, but choose to heal, because I promise you the difference between choosing to just complain about something and not do something versus pay it honor and then actually work through it. This one is going to help you majorly. This one's just going to make more people angry with you. Do you want to cause more anger, or do you want to release the anger and also help yourself and help others? Because a healed person helps heal people.
Mm-hmm.
A hurt person hurts people. Choose the first. Vent over. Sorry, what's the next question? Mic drop.
What was coming up for me while you were talking about that was years of being in professional chorus, where a lot of people in professional choruses are used to not being heard. They're used to being told to be quiet and let the artist get about their job, and then we'll tell you where to be on stage while the art is happening, as if you're not part of it. And there's so much pent up here. There's so much. And there's so much getting together and complaining. And while you were saying that, I was thinking, gosh, like, what would we unleash? What would we unleash if we all stepped into our power, if we all actually believed we had that power?
Oh my God.
To heal and like to choose that route. And what would happen to our art form if we did that?
It would completely change.
Incredible. And so the next thing I want to talk to you about is like what you have invested in yourself, because you're talking about like going to personal trainers, you're talking about starting an LLC and like starting an actual business in this. You're talking about going to healers. None of that is free.
No.
And in addition, like singers, one thing we love to complain about is how expensive this job is. We got to go to voice lessons. We got to fly to auditions. We got to go to coachings. We got to make recordings. We got to get good headshots. Like it's kind of bananas.
It is.
In comparison to then like what we then take for our actual work. So yeah, tell me when did you come to that point, and how did you come to that point of like, I'm just going to spend the money and I have the faith in myself that this is going to work?
Oh, there were multiple points. Also, I think our Instagram may have died, so I'm going to close out Instagram. Thank you all. Love you. Just so I can really focus on this. So my first.
I knew we were not going to be able to keep it to an hour. Sorry, everybody.
Sorry, guys.
You're enjoying it.
Let's shoot for like an hour 30. 40.
Yeah, we're getting close to the end.
Yeah, we're nearly at the end, but this one's important because I really do want to talk about money for sure. My first investment. So firstly, I should say that I did not grow up with money. I grew up with a mom who, again, I don't mean any like shit on my mom. This is just a fact. She had every single money concern you can imagine, every single kind of debt you concern. I lived in a mobile home for a period of my life. Like there was some actual poverty that happened, even though she hid it really well. And thank you, Mom. This was so sacrificial, and I don't think sacrificial is good, and you can clear sacrificial, but she would, put herself into debt to make sure that I was okay for a long time. Not great. I would definitely pay her back once I am a multi-millionaire, which is coming, bitches. It is coming. So my first investment, Going to Germany. I remember trying to save up the money, and no one taught me about money. Like, I had the same thing everybody did of like, or at least everybody in the musical world of like, you go to donors, someone else takes care of you. Again, that is failed self-provider screaming at you, right? So I always was like, some rich man is gonna save my ass. And I remember trying to save up the money to go to Germany, and it didn't happen at all. And then I took up my first credit card, and I remember being like, I just feel that this is going to be right, but God, I'm scared. I wasn't yet good with money. Like I didn't have a good relationship yet with money at that point. And then fast forward, the next big investment was when I started this LLC. It cost about 10 grand to start Moonrising, and I did not have 10 grand at all. But there were some weird things that happened around that time, actually, because I was starting out the LLC at the same time I was moving. And I remember I was starting to get into manifestation. And I was manifesting money. And got to be really careful with your manifesting sometimes, because at that time I also got into a car accident. My car accident brought me some money to help with that. Not how I meant to make the money. But again, I literally took out the very end of what I could do of credit cards to make this a business. And I just decided to trust. I don't even know what caused me to trust. I was scared, like really scared, because I had at that point like no return yet. I hadn't really made much. I was like, I mean, my God, my readings back in the day, I was charging by the minute, like, and definitely there was a woman who helped me learn about business, and her name is Andrea Franco, and she's wonderful, and she deserves a shout out here because she changed my life for sure. But investments, yeah. So the first two were kind of like a Hail Mary, good luck. And then what helped? The more I worked on my inner like money relationship, the more this all improved. And that's what I want to say here. Like, this is all about getting a better relationship with money. Every single person here could use a better relationship with money. We, like if you really actually look at it and kind of like deconstruct it, so many of us have been taught that money is evil, money is greedy, that money is, only misused, that only it's greedy to want money. Like, so many things are misunderstood about money. You're only a good person if you are if you're not wealthy. Like, oh my God, side note, even a time in London that made me really mad. They were like shitting on people in I don't know if I should say this or not, but like in a wealthier area of London, and basically like saying that, oh, those terrible people from that part of London because they're wealthy, oh, they're awful. And I was like, I don't think that they know that I'm doing all right. And this is a weird conversation because they have an unhealthy relationship with money. And I hope that they find a better one. And I hope that they do, because I'd love for them to. So what started? They're definitely like, we reached crucial boiling point, Gwen, with my finances. We absolutely did. And it was around the time of early 2020. So then I went and did another round of karma clearing, and I did karma clearing around my money stuff and around failed self-provider and a few other things. And then I started to take a business course. And again, I had no idea if it was actually going to come back. But I went, okay, does this feel aligned with me? Is this going to help my growth? Does it feel right? And I was like, there's got to be a point when there's a return. There must be a return coming somewhere. And finally, in April of, well, actually before then, in somewhere middle of 2019, is when that amazing woman came into my life as a client who taught me my worth with Moonrising. She was like, girl, you are special. And why are you charging so low? And she helped me fix my pricing structure. And so I remember my first ever like 3-4 grand month, I was like, and then October 2019 was my first ever 8 grand month. And I was like, is this real? Someone touched, is this real? And so I start there would be glimpses of like return on investments, and then it would go back down again. Where it got really even was, okay, I like to take bets with the universe. This place I moved in right now, even though I'm ready to move out because I've been here so long, I could not afford this rent when I moved in. I was like, you know what? Coronavirus has happened. I can't sing around the world right now. I'm going to finally go, what happens if I actually look at money and focus on how to make money and focus on what if I actually dig into my business? Because I never completely did. I half did in 2019 because I was balancing the touring. I was like, what happens? And I did. And I went all in and did my like not final, that's not true. There've been so many investments since. But I did an investment with a small business course on social media, which absolutely was helpful. And I decided to go all in with Moonrising, and I made an $8,000 cash month again. And then the month after, I made 20. And I was like, what? Me? Oh, sorry. I see you got some noise. It was so finally the return on investments started to come through. So for a person that is afraid of investing, I encourage you to ask yourself this question. Does not from a place of, okay, so fear versus gut, fear versus intuition. Your fear will try to stop you. Your fear is going to see a big price tag and go, fuck this, fuck no, nope, 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 nope. I can't shift. I can't, whatever it is. It might not be healing. It might be something. It might be another investment. It might be a program that you want to sing in. I don't know. It could be anything. And your body is going to go, it is not safe to make this investment. Your fear is going to go, nope, mayday. But where I really did well with my investments, even though I'm still honestly paying off some of the original credit cards for Moonrising, and I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that because it got me this amazing business. When you can silence that fear voice and go, shh, and you listen to the internal gut going, I think I actually need this to progress in my life. If the investment is going to help you progress in your life, it is so fucking worth it. I can't tell you. Because if I had not made investments, and I'll share more, I would never have moved abroad. I would never have sung around the world. I would have never started, I have shivers again, or like, spiritual, like, whew. I would have never started this business. I would have never made over six figures, $105,000 and change last year. And this year, I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm shooting for $500,000 to $1 million beyond. None of that would have been possible. I would not have gotten, a talent visa in London. I would not have had any, if I had not taken risks, I would not be here. So what made me take risks? I have no clue. Maybe it's my spiritual guides that were like, tap, 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 go, tap, 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 go, tap, 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 go. Because I did end up meeting a lot of people along the way that massively helped me, massively. In every single stage of my life, I had someone that was just kind of there. And I'm thankful as heck for that. And so what was my next investment? There was a business coach that that's still going. So I can't totally speak on that yet, but I'm very excited for where that's going and what we're building. And that was like another $6,000-ish. But every investment, asking yourself, does this help me evolve? Does this help me evolve? And what drives me insane, if it's something that helps you evolve, that is to do with your self-care, if you're going, I can't afford that, aren't you saying I don't deserve that? Just check into what your real reasons are. Because honestly, money is about priorities. It's about energy and it's about priorities. Where do I make priorities in my life? What is my priority? And again, how can I shift my relationship with money? And also, the more you heal, the more your relationship with money will improve, the more money you will make. Because there's so many money karmas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not saying like, you got to work with me. You don't have to work with me. I will change your life and I'll help you and you'll be super freaking happy you did. But you don't have to work with me. But whatever investment you make, knowing that, does this help me improve my life? Then it's worth it. Because another thing I see people do is they go, I can do it myself. And it's not to say that you can't, but the right kind of investments will quantumly speed up the process not just like years ahead, but like lifetimes. And karmic work is a perfect example of that. If you could unlearn all of the conditioning and trauma that you've had, whether you know it or not, that has had you in repeat loops over and over and over with the same people, the same problems, the same kind of jobs, and you could actually speed up like 300 years and multiple lifetimes through a small investment, wouldn't you? If I had not worked with that original karma healer, I would not be here. I would still be probably very scared of my dad. I would not have made tons of money. I would not have had the confidence to sing around the world. And I no way would my healing world have unlocked. So the right
I want to
investment.
go back for a second. Yeah, I want to go back for a second to this, like, these issues we have around other people being wealthy and what that means. And I think there's such a parallel between how, like you said this, but how we feel about money ourselves, but also it's this, like, it's what is the energy around that wealth? And like, you're investing money so you can come to your highest self, so you can help more people. And you're getting a return on that investment so you can invest more into yourself, so you can help more people. Like, there's a purpose to it that is beyond the money. And what always comes to mind in this conversation for me is from the Bible, when Jesus said it's the love of money. And I don't mean it's like love of money in like money over anything else, money over people. And that we have this, like, that's an issue to heal here, right? That it's more important to have the money than it is to care for other people or to care for ourselves. And that's for me, every time I invest with you, it's kind of a thing I have to go through. Do I love, like, am I going to put myself as this priority so I can show up for my life in a way I want to show up for it and tell the stories I want to tell, and feel free to do that? Or do I love the money more?
Ooh.
So, I mean, that's kind of, I feel like there are these two things that are true at once. I, as a housing advocate, which is another part of my life, I fight for housing rights for people who have no housing. And there is a truth in, like, looking at people with billions of dollars who you're not seeing where the investment is. You're not seeing where the place is that it's people and not the money. And I understand that frustration. But what I see you doing, and what I think us artists can do, like putting money in our hands, now that is the place for it to be, because we care about people. We are here to have this expression. And that expression can only ever be about people. Otherwise, nobody cares.
The thing is, whether you all believe me or not, anyone can become rich. Anyone. There are, well, this is super generalization. Oh my God. There are good people and there are bad people. There are people that want to choose to do a lot of good in the world, and there are people that want to do a lot of chaos and evil and self-centered things. It is not money's fault. It's about the people that have the money. 100%. Really process this. Think about, like, some wealthy billionaire or millionaire you think of. It's about the person that wields the money. It is not money's fault. I hope this doesn't go too far from what you said. But with that, like you were saying, what is the best gift we can all do? Help a bunch of incredible, heart-centered, loving, kind, caring, have that extra kind of power with fuck tons of money that they can help lots of fucking people. So shouldn't we also get really rich? Yes. Yes, we should. And my God, it's already like starting some weird conversations with people here of like, ooh, Emily, you're gonna become super wealthy. Ooh, and I was like, yeah, I am. And you know what I'm gonna do with that? I'm gonna do a lot of good. So like, why don't you also join me and I'll help you become wealthy too, so you can also do a lot of good. Let's get out of this whole thing and get rid of, like, rip off the Band-Aid. All right. Money is an evil. It's about the energy of the person who wields it. And we all are able to earn wealth. In order to earn wealth, you need to change your relationship with money completely, which means there's a lot of money healing to do. And, that's at least one course. Like, at least that's more than one course. That's a lot. But we have that in Moonrising. I made it for a reason.
So I think we're about ready to wrap up because we're at almost an hour 40. My God, guys, whoever has stuck with us this long, like, hi, it's so great to meet you.
I want to know who you are.
But you have actually already touched on my last few questions, which is, what's your, to quote one of my favorite singer podcasts, what's your hashtag thrilled to announce?
What's my hashtag? Okay, well, on the singer perspective, I get back to singing in July. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. My hashtag thrilled to announce for the purpose of this. For the first time ever, everyone can do a glimpse sample. I hate the word sample. A glimpse of this work with me for free. And flippin', come on in and join us. So there's a Facebook group called Clear. I will leave all the links everywhere I see a live. I will do that right after this. I will leave all the links. There's a new Facebook group, and there's also 2 registration links. You want to make sure that you're registered for both events. They are both free. You will receive healing in both of them. Please join. It would be crazy not to. Also, there's massive prizes that you can win, including a scholarship with me and money, because I'm crazy and I can. Why not? And so these, I don't have all the info up right now, but the first one is a giant launch kickoff party. And the second one is a 3-day mini course focused around the subject of who am I? And we're clearing, if I remember correctly, it's like karmas of self-worth. We're clearing a new karmic pattern I've never cleared with anybody, that I was like, why have I never done this before? I think it's like primary lifestyle of feeling unworthy, something like that. We're doing some things with the heart and the inner child. And yeah, it's going to be really, really beautiful. And the more you commit and the more you engage, and you will become eligible. People that engage and participate the most become eligible for some badass prizes. And the other thrill to announce is that this is a doorway into what is the greatest thing I have ever made with Moonrising, called Clear. And it's not available yet, but it's available starting the 10th. And it is truly a life-changing program of this work in the most in-depth way. Like, to give an example, in these little minis, we're going to be doing like 1 to 3 karmas, right? And you're going to feel some shifts from that. I promise you will. In the actual program, picture like, what the heck did I do in 21 days? I think I did to money. That program that we did together. I think I cleared like 150 karmas in a call or something insane. And everyone was like, woo! So Clear is the last known live program I'm running, and definitely the best thing I've ever made. And think of Clear as like the true dedication to the self, the commitment to the self, and to you getting clear so that you know who the heck you are as a soul, so you can grow and do the badass things you're fucking meant to do. But regardless of that, join us for the free bits. Join us for these events. Register. Do not miss them. I never offer free healing in a group like this or a free mini course. Like, that's not a thing I've done. So take advantage of it. Come on in and try this. You have literally nothing to lose. So just go for it. And also huge thank you to Gwen for doing this with me, for, being with me for so long. And my thanks to you is unending. This has been really fun. Really, really fun.
This was such a fun conversation. Thank you so much. And I feel like the more we have these conversations as singers and really are able to get really honest and tease out like the power and the visionary nature that's in all of us, like we're gonna really we're gonna go somewhere with our industry in particular and with our art.
Yeah, we are. So I'm going to hit end podcast. I hope it auto saves. I've never used this before.
Me too.
So
I hope it auto saves.
Gwen, bye. Thank you, everyone.
Bye,
I will
everybody.
end. Bye.